I don't do intros. How you guys doing today? I'm doing all right today. Today I have for you guys a brand new build, Flame and Magic, Magic and Flame, the Bluefire Cultist. We're gonna talk all about this build, this character, and all that fun stuff. Um, so yeah, this is kind of like a reimagining of my dragon build I did a couple weeks ago. I think it was called the True Dragon build. I think I called it Maws, Claws, and Flame. Um, we're going to talk about all the things this character wants to do. We're going to talk about player covenants. We're going to talk about the build itself and how it functions and all that stuff. But the first thing I want to talk about here today is I want to announce a little special something in this video. So tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch for the first time ever. If you guys want to go ahead and follow my Twitch account so you guys can go ahead and catch the stream, I'll go ahead and put my name down here on the screen so that you guys can go follow my Twitch account, man. I think I already have 2 followers on there now. I think the ultimate goal for Twitch is just to get 50 followers. Once you get 50, I think you get something. You get like a sub button or something like that. So yeah. Don't worry, guys. I'm still going to stream here on YouTube as well. I just also want to stream on Twitch. Get a following going on Twitch and stuff like that. Which, by the way, guys, if you guys want to do me a favor, why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe the video. We're almost to 500 subs. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs for the end of the year, and I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would sub. Anyway, guys, let's talk about this build real quick. How it mechanically functions. Then I'll talk about the character itself, and then I'll talk about a potential player covenant, maybe. If you guys would be interested in that, let me know. We'll talk about it later. So this build, at its base core, is a straight up Sword of Night and Flame build. With some other stuff added onto it as well. I think I have the Iron Great Sword and the Great Mace in this video as well. But yeah, so we are using the Sword of Night and Flame, we're using the Golden Order Seal, and we're using the Gelmir Staff. Sword of Night and Flame scales really, really good with Int and Faith. That's what this build is. It's mainly an Int and Faith build. Intelligence and Faith. We have some fire on the build, we have some blue magic on the build. And to top it all off, we have Smaragd, Glintstone Breath for the blue flames that it kind of, you know, procures. I don't know what words I'm using now. It's really early in the morning, guys. So yeah, that's where the name Bluefire Cultist comes from. Is the blue flames from the Glintstone Breath here. As you can see, I still have dragon stuff. I still have the maul. I still have the claw on the build. The character didn't really change all that much. If you guys watched the True Dragon video, that was a video where I tried to make a dragon cultist guy that was like obsessed with becoming a dragon. Instead of using the dragon cult spells, I used all the you know, the actual dragon spells. I think it's called Dragon Communion. Yeah, because there's 2 different kinds of dragon spells in the game. You have the lightning dragon spells, the dragon cult spells. Then you have the Dragon Communion spells, which are like Grell's Roar and the breath attacks and stuff like that. That's all fine and dandy, but I wanted to make a cool dragon build, man. I didn't really like using the pure dragon stuff. I didn't really like using the lightning build, so I came up with this incarnation of throwing fire, magic, and dragon stuff all in the same build to see how it works. And this is like a really cool combo that I did here. So I cast Rykar's Rancor. This guy gets hit by it, and he gets hit by the comet at the same time. It was such a cool little interaction there. So yeah, at its core, it's a Faith Intelligence build. We're using the Golden Order Seal to be able to cast our fire magic, and then we're using the Gelmir Staff to cast our sorceries, because both of those, that staff and that seal, both scale with intelligence and faith, and that's what we want. Not to mention for the Gelmir Staff, we're using 2 Gelmir sorceries on the build. We obviously are really like a big fan of Gelmir sorceries because they are magic attacks that do fire damage. So yeah, it fits the build really, really good. Rykard's Rancor is just a really cool looking spell that I just love to play around with, but it ultimately is doo-doo trash. I hope it gets buffed in the future. That's the thing about using builds that don't use any kind of meta stuff, is that eventually maybe they'll get buffed. But yeah. And the other Gelmir sorcery that we're using on the build is Gelmir's Fury, which actually might be the highest, one of the highest damaging spells in the game if you just sit in it, like it's insane. And then of course we have the Dragon Claw and Dragon Maul on the build, because I didn't want to shed the identity of the character. I just wanted to change the identity of the character, and that's what we did here. And what you're about to see right now is one of the coolest things I think I've ever done in the game. So this guy, he loves pressing L2, right? Well, I like pressing L1, so we're going to see how this goes. Dude, Dragon Maul is insane. Even on this build where it's being boosted by nothing, it still, like, absolutely crushes the enemies that it bites. I think that was almost 1700 damage there. Almost. I think previously when I made this build, the last video, the True Dragon build video, I think it did upwards of like 1890, almost 1900. So like, you know, when it's boosted it does almost 2000 damage. When it's not boosted it does just under 1700 damage. Just goes to show you that that spell is like cracked, and you can throw it on just about anything, right? Because I'm like I said, I'm not boosting it by anything. I'm not using the Dragon Community Seal. This is just pure fucking. I don't really have that much arcane. Like it's pure fucking faith damage there. At 60 faith, that spell absolutely slaps, man. But yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the build. It's a Sword of Night and Flame build that has fire magic on it. It has fire incantations on it. It has stuff like Comet. Basically, I wanted to mix the blue with the red, and that's what we got here. So I guess we should talk about the character now. The character is well, he's pretty neat. He isn't really too different from his first iteration of him that I made, which was the True Dragon guy. And here you're gonna see the insane damage of Gelmir's Fury and why it's like slept on a little bit. So I cast it here. This guy just doesn't respect it and just ends up dying. Not that he had that much vigor to begin with, but Jesus. Yeah, Gelmir's Fury, man, I absolutely love it. So anyway, let's talk about the character and the lore. You guys know that when I put builds together, I like to come up with like some kind of lore explanation for the character, the build. It just adds a little bit more life to the build. Keeps me completely out of the meta a lot of the times, because I'll use something that makes more sense for the character than it does for the mechanical build. Just because, you know, meta is boring, so we should avoid meta at all cost. These boys, by the way, right here that I just invaded, these some Limgrave gankers using sleep bows and sacred relic sword. You guys are gonna have fun watching me kill these guys. Anyway, let's talk about the build itself. So I thought about changing up my dragon build for the longest time because I just thought it was really bad. Like, it was just borderline unfun. It had like 70 faith and like 40 arcane, and it was like, its whole gimmick was just one-shotting people with dragon spells. And of course, I was using Agios Flame and not really any other breath because, again, I'm not a slave to the meta, so I don't use the Ice Breath or the Rotten Breath. So I was looking at other breaths, and the Glintstone breath is really cool looking. It has like blue fire on it. So that's kind of where I got the idea of calling him a Bluefire Cultist. The idea of using like Giant's Flames from the mountaintops and mixing them with the Glintstone from the stars and sorceries and stuff like that. And there actually is a group of individuals that was kind of mentioned in the lore that they had already done this before. If you guys don't know, I think it's the Sword of Night and Flame itself that actually mentions that there used to be scholars who lived on the mountaintops with the giants because they wanted to study the stars from the mountaintops, and the giants were they were friendly with the scholars, and to commodorate their friendship, they wanted to make sort of like an heirloom kind of thing, and I think that's what the Sword of Night and Flame is. And obviously you find it in the Carrion Manor, so that probably suggests that the scholars that were up there in the mountaintops were probably related to Caria in some kind of way. So my idea for this guy is that he is a scholar who just got inducted, got indicted, you know, into the dragon cult stuff, and again, in his previous iteration, he didn't really care about the lightning incantations. He didn't really care about using the power of the dragons. He more so wanted to become a dragon himself. And he still feels that way. This character is still similar to that belief system still. Only he was a scholar in his past life, so he knows magic now. And I believe we could chalk up his fire incantations like flame fall upon them to him just spending time in the mountaintops and learning some flame magic from the giants. I even thought about using the one-eyed shield in this build, and I think I still might. If you guys see this character again, he'll probably use the one-eye shield, just because I think it's really cool. And that guy who uses it in the fort there, you know, he's like a fire wizard that lives on the mountaintops, so it makes more sense that way. So that's kind of the character's lore. Now, something that I want to bring up now is an idea for a player covenant. If you guys don't know what a player covenant is, it is a covenant made by players, obviously. And what you do is you kind of come up with like a thematic build idea, and all the invaders in that covenant will like base their characters and their builds around that covenant, similar to how they were in Dark Souls 3, Aldred's Faithfuls, Watchdogs, stuff like that. Only it's like a just a covenant of people who invade, who use similar builds and ideas and stuff like that. Maybe they even like invade a specific spot. If I were to ever do a player covenant, I would probably do this one, this Bluefire Cultist. I would probably call it the Bluefire Cult. The idea of mixing magic and fire together, creating that like dragon glintstone breath. But I'm not really sure what the requirements would be, specifically because I think this build right here that I've made might be my most creative build I've ever made, because you can throw on so many different things on this build. You can have your pick from all the Gelmir stuff. You have your pick from all the Glintstone stuff, any kind of sorcery you want, literally. You can use fire and ice stuff like I'm doing in this invasion right here. I'm using fire and ice curved swords, Flaming Strike and Chilling Mist. You could use a pyromancy like flame fall upon them, Whippo Flame, Giant's Flame take thee, Burn O Flame, really anything you want. Of course, coupled with the dragon spells as well. So that's kind of the idea behind the Bluefire Cult. If that's something that you guys would be interested in, making a whole player covenant, let me know, because I'll make a whole video about it. But with that being said, guys, it would mean the world to me if you guys would like and subscribe the video. Trying to make it to 1,000 subs for the end of the year. We're almost halfway there. We're almost to 500 subs, which is crazy. It blows my mind. But yeah, guys, if you guys like this kind of content, this kind of build making content, this kind of PvP content, this kind of character lore, character creation concept content, like and subscribe, man. And that being said, fare thee well, peace out, and all that fun stuff. I'll see you guys later, man.